Welcome to week 5, lesson 1 of the Store Manager Academy. I want to congratulate all of you for making it this far in the Academy. I know you have learned a lot so far. It's kind of been like a fire hose just spraying you in the face. Make sure you're watching these lessons just 1 or 2 per day so you can let those principles sink in, so you can start applying those principles one by one. And if you do it that way, you're going to be very successful. Don't just crank through all 5 weeks in 1 week. You won't learn much. Now, this week's a very important week. This is graduation week. We're going to talk about some advanced strategies. We're going to talk about a lot of principles that are going to help you as a tenured manager when you are really, after you've applied all the principles from week 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're really entrenched in it, week 5 is going to help you. You want to reference this video at least once a month for the next 6 months, and then reference it again when you hit that 1 year mark in your career. I promise you week 5 is going to really help you when you're in between that 6 month and 1 year mark in your career. The lessons that we are going to cover in week 5, this lesson is going to be about when you're wrong, even though you're right. For those of you that are married, you already understand that principle. Lesson 2 is going to be all about getting promoted on your timeline. Some managers think it's out of their control, their promotion. That is a false belief. You can absolutely get promoted on your timeline. You just need to have a clear path to promotion, and your DM or your supervisor and even their supervisor need to be on the same page for that clear path to promotion. We're going to talk about that in week 5. Then we're going to talk about being a brand ambassador and how truly that's going to make the difference in having a profitable store and building high performance culture versus not. We're going to jump into that, mirroring off of being a brand ambassador and just talking about how your store can be a direct mirror. It can be a mirror of your leadership and management skills. And then one of my favorite lessons, we're going to talk about the perfect shift, how 9 out of 10 times you can hit your sales goals each day. You can have customers leave happy. You can have all the tasks that you set your team to complete that day completed. These are things, this is an exact recipe, just like a recipe to making the perfect pizza. This is a recipe for your store on how you can have the perfect shift 9 out of 10 times. Then we're going to jump into corporate secrets. That's right. Because I've been in the corporate world for several years, there are secrets in there. It's not like they try to cover up these things, but there are secrets that really can benefit you and your career. If you know these insider secrets and how things actually operate behind the scenes and the goals and aspirations of those in the corporate office and what they're trying to accomplish for themselves and how that directly reflects on the organization, if you know these behind the scenes secrets, if we want to call it that, you will have one step ahead of the competition. You will be very successful in your career if you utilize these secrets to your benefit. And then lastly, at the end of week 5, we're actually going to help you transition from a store manager to a multi-unit manager or even a corporate position. I'm going to break it down step by step on how you can work towards that next step in your career. Maybe if you're an assistant manager and you're watching this, once this will be, these same principles will apply in becoming a store manager. But you store managers that are actually watching this, you are going to have a better understanding of how you can step into a multi-unit role or a corporate position after this training. So I look forward to seeing you in the next 7 lessons. But let's touch on lesson 1 today. That's what this video is about. It's all about when you are wrong, even though you are right. Again, if you're married, you understand this concept, or at least I hope you do. If you don't understand this concept, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. It took me maybe about 2 years, maybe 3 years of being married before I understood that concept. But it definitely applies in the business world, right? I want to give you some examples of what that really means to you as a store manager, as an assistant manager. Maybe there's a new initiative that rolls out and you've been with the company for a few years, or maybe you have some tenured staff on your team, and they're like, man, I've seen this before, Steven. We did something like this 3 years ago, or we did something like this 5 years ago. I don't get why we're trying to do it again. It's going to be a big failure. Maybe you as a manager think that way. Maybe you've seen this initiative before, or something like it, something that looks like it, and you know it's going to fail. And so maybe you talk to your DM, maybe you talk to the merchandising team, and you're like, look, we've tried this before, it's not going to work. I'm not going to do it. I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna do something on my own. I wanna caution you against that mentality. Even though nobody's perfect, right? We get things wrong all the time. The buyers get things wrong, the merchandisers, the executive team, even you as the manager get things wrong sometimes. And so I want to caution you against that mentality. You do need to be cautious with for the new program, and maybe talk about it. That's a good thing. Talk about it to your boss. But if you make it into an argument and the program fails, not because of your fault, but because it was a bad program, your boss, the buyers, the merchandisers are going to look at managers like you that were complaining about the program, and they're going to point a finger and say, hey, it failed not because of my bad planning and merchandising. It failed because you did not roll it out properly in your store. And so now they can't even judge if it's a real program, if it's going to work, because managers aren't rolling it out properly. So what I would encourage you to do when you have an initiative come up where either you or members of your team don't want to roll it out, you don't believe in the initiative, I would challenge you to give it everything you have. Roll it out properly and measure it. And then if you see it's not working after you've rolled it out, after you've been measuring the sales, then you can change it up and do your own thing. But not until you've actually rolled it out properly and have followed the plan, the clear plan to revenue, the clear path to revenue. Until you followed that plan that your corporate office has rolled out, you can't go in there and just do it yourself, because if it fails, you will be blamed for not rolling it out properly. So even though you might be right, you're wrong when you decide to just roll out your own program without rolling out the company initiative first. So again, I want to just emphasize, you can put a plan together of how you think you'll make this successful outside of the corporate initiative, but you need to execute their initiative first, and then if it fails, you can roll yours out. But you have to give the program a chance. At the end of the day, that's where you can really win. If you give these programs a chance and they don't work, that's not on you, right? That's on the merchandising team, the planning team that put that program together. But they can at least have confidence that everybody executed it properly, so you don't see that program again down the road. Just like when your team says, we've seen that before 3 years ago, or we've been trying this year after year. Well, maybe it's because nobody was executing it properly year after year. And so if you actually execute it properly and you're measuring it and you see that it's not working, that's when you'll see a program like that get killed off. And you'll never see it again. And that's what we all want, right? So again, that's just merchandising examples of when you're wrong, even though you're right. You can apply the same concept when you have a disagreement with some of your team members, even your direct supervisor, and you don't want to burn any bridges, right? You know you're right and that other person's wrong, but sometimes if it doesn't affect your business revenue-wise, like drastically, sometimes it's better just to concede. And other times it's not. Sometimes you do need to stand your ground, express your opinion, and prove it with numbers. But in other times, if it's not going to hurt the store revenue-wise, don't try to be the person that's always right every time. You can be wrong sometimes, and that's going to show that you're human. People are going to your team will actually respect you more when you say, guys, I was wrong. I was wrong about this initiative. I was wrong about this program. or I was wrong about this new thing we were trying out. I apologize. You guys were right. Do you think they're gonna lose your respect because you're not right all the time? No. They're going to actually trust you more because you're honest with them. So at the end of the day, it's okay to be wrong, even though you think you're right. Thanks for watching this lesson. That's lesson 1. Next lesson, lesson 2, it's all about getting promoted on your timeline. If you want to become a store manager in the next 3 months, what does that clear path to promotion look like to you? If you want to be a store manager in 6 months, if you want to be a district manager in 6 months or a year or 2 years, if you want to be a regional manager in 2 years, what does that look like? What is your timeline and how do you get there? We're going to talk about those principles. We're going to give you a clear path to promotion, help you build that on your own. Look forward to seeing you in the next lesson. Thank you.